Hello everyone, welcome back to another Tomato Sauce stream. Today we're going to be playing in the GOHA Rush Festival first stage because we've basically not really played in it at all. We did the NPC duels every day, but we haven't actually grinded it yet. So we're going to do that with a funny deck. We're going to do that with AMNESIA. We're going to see how it goes. The plan is, I don't know, grind it for a bit, hopefully try and learn something about AMNESIA, see if there's something there, you never know, maybe, probably not, but maybe. We also want to talk about Stage 2, because we will be putting out a video basically saying what decks we think are going to be really good for Stage 2 going in, which means doing another bit of a meta discussion, so if that sort of thing interests you, we will be doing that as well. But, let's see who we've got in the chat. We have Ray in the chat, eating his breakfast of his scrambled eggs on toast. We have Darth Victor. Good day, Victor. We have Cyclone Valley in the chat. Welcome. Who looks very comfy there with his cozy emote. We got Ninjetti Ursus. Hello. And we have Desmume. Welcome everybody. So, today's going to be pretty chill. I mean, again, there'll be yapping. But it's a tomato sauce stream, right? It's like 90% yapping, 10% card games. Usually that card game is Rush Duel. But yapping is what we do. Usually it's nonsensical. Sometimes it does make sense. We just kind of spitball things. We kind of just go a bit freestyle, see how things go. Hopefully we can see Sidra in Stage 2. I would expect that we will. Sidra is extraordinarily popular, right? If you look at the in-game the card rankings, right? Sidra is always at the top. And that's because Sidra is popular, it's very free to play friendly, and a lot of people invested in it to try out Rush Duels as Go Rush launched, and they just have it. And a lot of people are going to be playing in the GRF just for the rewards, but not only the rewards, they will also be playing, well, I suppose, the rewards of getting to Stage 2. They will also be trying to climb a little bit in Stage 2, I would think, to try and get some of the Chronicle card rewards. Because a lot of people are going to see, blue name, red name, just gold borders, and they're like, I want that. So they're going to try and, whether or not they push top 100 or top 1,000 or top 10,000, I would imagine we're still going to see a lot of Sidra in Stage 2. Now, will it happen in top 100? I would be surprised if there were 0 Sidra top 100. I'm still going to expect to see at least a decent chunk of top 100 Sidras. Because, the deck is relatively consistent. The deck does have some really good matchups right now. So I would be surprised if it went anywhere. Let's put it that way. Wap. Oh, wait. Jappin. Oh, yeah. Always. Alright. Well, I'm going to push for top 100 with Pluggy Fish to prove you wrong. Okay. So my response to that would be top 100 in GRF, at least in the past, is not hard, right? I got, I think, 102 in one of them, barely playing at all, right? So top 100 in KC Cup, because it's a bit more competitive, there's a lot more players, is maybe a bit more difficult. Top 100 playing, even a bad deck, I think is actually very doable in a GRF. Now, if you did, top 50, top 10, suddenly I'm like, wow, that's incredible. But, that, I think we're getting into the realms of probably, not impossibility, but very improbability, right? But I think you could do it, top 100. I think you're going to be low 100, right? But you could do it. It will be all Hero Trust. I think there'll be, maybe a hero in top 100. Like a one-of, right? I don't think it's going to be, a popular deck that's going to be up there. Unfortunately, the deck has a lot of weaknesses. Metarion has been slipping a little bit, but not actually that much. I think a lot of people have already been, doomsaying Metarion, saying, Metarion's bad now. All these decks beat it. It's doing really shit. But then when you actually look at the tournament results, when you actually look at the point battle results, Metarion is still doing well. It's actually still doing completely fine. It's no longer the only good deck in the game, but it's still completely fine. Now, I'd be surprised. I mean, it's one of those things, I think, but maybe maybe Thunder top 100 would be pushing it, because that's like a legit bad deck. Like, no matter how you look at Thunder, the deck is just bad, right? If you want to beat set 3, you basically have to rely on something weird. Like, the only thing in Archetype is going to be, like, Thunder Gazelle and Trigger Drago, both of which are reliant on your opponent's hand size, which can be fine, but also can not be fine, right? It's a weird one. Like, the fusion monsters as well. Like, Poseidon is, like, okay, right? Because he can boost the attack of your guys. But if your guys are bad bodies anyway, it doesn't really matter. It itself only hits 3k, and 3k isn't really that relevant. Like, sure, you can clear over, like, 28s, but, like, you can't beat Golem, you can't beat Dragiastar. There's a lot of 3ks that you'll have to crash into to get rid of, realistically, so... Trust Dragon Fusion top 10. Dragon Fusion, genuinely, I think, could do well. Again, it's not one of the decks I expect to see a lot of, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were 5 to 10 of them in top 100. Like, the deck is fine. It's positioned well against some of the decks, right? So depending on how the meta shapes up in top 100, Dragon Fusion definitely could stand a chance to do quite well. Galaxy Sweep. But which Galaxy, Ursus? Because we did just see Renegade win a tournament with Light Galaxy. All the Light Galaxy haters. Light Galaxy has won more tournaments this meta since the latest product came out than Psychic has. Just think about that. Nah, I'd burn. It's really difficult for me because I can't remember what it's called, but like the bigger fusion for Thunder, if it worked on like 8 or lower or 8 and higher, I would actually think that was an okay boss monster. But because it's only 8, it is very specific, right? There will be a lot of decks it just doesn't do anything against. Now, right now, Dark Galaxy is very popular, so there's a lot of 8s going around. So, like, you know, that's alright. Cyber Dragon's also quite popular, so there's more 8s going around, so it works alright. Sea Inferno, that's the one. But yeah, I just really don't like that boss. I don't like these, like, contextually relevant cards that are useless most of the time, but sometimes are, like, incredible. Now, that sometimes, and most of the time, can be swapped around depending on the meta, and right now, you could make the argument that we are in a level 8 meta, so maybe they have a bit more value, but, like, there'll just be some other good decks that just don't play 8s at all. Is there a chance Thunder will ever be good again without a new skill? So it depends what we mean by Thunder, right? If you're asking if we think, like, Stormbolt Trigger Drago Thunder is going to be good, probably not. But Volt Condor is a deck that will be coming out that is half Winged Beast, half Thunder. And it is only half Thunder, but that half Thunder is still really good. So, like, eventually, when those cards do come out, that will be arguably a top tier deck. It depends when it comes out. Because Volt Condor was, like, it was top tier in the physical game, in the OCG, for, like, a month before it got, like, power crept. And then it was, like, you know, a tier 2, tier 3, and it lingered for a bit until it eventually just fell out of the meta. So, like, it's an okay deck, but it was never anything, like, super crazy, right? Also, hello, Paco, and hello, Neo. I don't believe we said hello to you yet, so welcome, welcome. Clearly, you weren't at Ray's stream in 2024, but 2024 is today. It's 2024 right now. Speaking of which, what we should actually do is this. We should give a huge shout out to L9 Ray, who has started streaming. Now, I only actually got to catch the end of your stream because when you did stream, it was like midnight for me. So I couldn't like sit there and watch, but I did get to see some of it, and it was pretty cool. So I would, yeah, everyone should head over to Ray's channel, throw him a follow, make sure you're there for the next Ray stream. Knowing Ray, there will probably not be a schedule, so it'll just be whenever Ray feels like it, the stream will be on. So you have to just keep an eye out for it. Do you have like a Discord or something, Ray, where people can like find like stream prompts and stuff? Hello, Dwan. Welcome, welcome. We also need to catch up the rest of this chat as well. We kind of skipped through a little bit. All galaxies, the OTK type. So just all of them. I do have a schedule. Okay. Well, have you got your schedule somewhere? Like, have you posted it somewhere? Do you have, like... Let me have a look. Let me click on Ray. Can I do this? This. Join Ray's basement. Alright, I found Ray's basement. We're going to Ray's basement. Okay. So, what can I do? Can I invite people to this? Let's have a look. Edit that. Ever. Okay, so I could use this. Are you alright if I post your invite link? Do you care about that? Or is that something you don't want me to do? Or so I'm just faffing. We're just having a faff right now. There we go. There is Ray's Discord link to join Ray's server, where you'll be able to catch up with all of Ray's shenanigans as Ray tries in Stage 2 to get top 100 with the Thunder deck. We'll see how long that takes before Ray gets bored and actually plays a real deck. But, you know. Light Galaxy and its matchups versus Negate Attack each turn 1, bad matchup, versus Buffered Slime turn 1, bad matchup, versus Terrace Crisis turn 1, mediocre matchup but bearable, versus Infinite D Live, probably unwinnable, versus anything else just sack for the win. This was one of the thesis from the Discord when I thought about Infinite D. If they don't open back removal, it's good as dead. It's a weird one though, because like no matter how much we think one thing or another, right, and how much you think it should be this or it shouldn't be this or how it works and everything, the deck still wins, right? It's like people were like, oh, Light Galaxy, since Dark Galaxy's come out, that deck's going to be mid, and then it won a tournament, right? So it's just like, it's a weird one. Yeah, it's just, it is a strange one. It is very much a strange one, where it will be interesting to see what ends up happening, right? Because there are so many potential different directions that we could go with the GRF. And usually what happens in a GRF is the meta accelerates, right? So typically going into a GRF, everyone has like an idea of what the meta is, right? And then you play around that idea. And then as you start filtering out like the lower tier decks, as you start filtering out the players that maybe aren't performing as well, you end up with around the top 100, all ends up being quite good players, playing quite good decks. And then because of that, you start accelerating the meta, right? Because it's just so many good players playing so many games in such a small space of time. People start teching cards to deal with what they're playing against the most. People start swapping decks to deal with decks they're playing against the most. And because of that, you know, like we say, the meta accelerates. Suddenly, you know, you'll only have 2, 3, 4 decks that people are playing. Suddenly they've all been teched out to deal with the specific matchups that they're bad against. And usually by the end of it, like, what's a good metaphor for this? It's like when... It's like forming a diamond in the rough, right? You know, it's just things being compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed until you have perfection at the end. Now, that doesn't always happen, but typically that does tend to happen. Like the very first GRF I think we had, it was the like Dragius aggro deck with, God, what was it? It was Paku Pakuchu and stuff like that. Like was like the best deck, but like going into it, everyone was like, oh, this deck could do okay. But then it was like, no, this is just like the best deck in the game. And then for several tournaments after that, it was just that deck winning every single tournament. But who else do we have? We have Dwan in the chat. Hello, Dwan. Big tomato, small tomato. Always small tomato. But let's go and jump in to some yappy topics. So the first thing we want to talk about is going to be we have another tier list update for speed, guys. Tier list update. So Predator plants have been moved back into tier 1. Actually, was this back into tier 1? Were they tier 1 and then they got moved down? I can't really remember. The issue, it's not really an issue, but the speed tier list, I feel like gets changed like once or twice a week. And then because of that, it's hard to keep track of where things were originally. Wait, what are we yapping about? I zoned out for a bit. I mean, we're talking currently just about the the tier list update. So Predaplant obviously got its nerf through. It got like its 2 limit 1s. Tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 1 again. Yeah, that's what I thought happened. Predaplant moves up as the only tier 1, and the reason is that it's favored against almost everything aside from Ghost Tricks. The turn 1 is weaker than it used to be, but is still strong enough to beat most decks. Lyrilusk Recital Starling to search DD Crow into full armored Utopic Ray Lancer seems to be a solid answer to Lyrilusk. I wouldn't consider this Predaplant meta though, because it still loses to Forbidden Droplet and some hand traps, and a lot of decks are still playable in the format, but no other deck now seems to be as good as Predaplants. Okay, I like this. Pretty concise. I hecking love Tomate's yapping streams. Hello, Globe. Welcome. Even after the ban list hits, Predaplant has proven to be quite strong. The deck seems to have settled on playing Hydra as it's the card that allows it to comfortably play into any relevant board. After the Lyrilusk assembled Nightingale limit, the deck has moved onto Lyrilusk Ensemble Robin, but have lately started to use Recital Starling to search DD Crow and Lancer. Well, I mean, that's basically echoing what Georfio said as well, so I'm assuming that we're about to see the exact same thing mentioned in Dwan's post as well. But that does seem to be like its new gimmick, right? It seems to be the Ray Lancer, which is pretty cool, right? And then Predaplant seems like a solid option right now. The previously unfavorable Lyrilusk matchup has improved with the inclusion of Starling and Lancer. Package, ooh, Tauti Dragon, I haven't seen this one at all, has also become nearly mandatory in most lists. I don't think I've ever read this card before, you know. This card gains effects based on the card types of materials used for its Link Summon. Your opponent can activate monster effects during the battle phase. Your opponent can activate spell trap cards during your main phase. Your opponent can activate the effects of cards in the graveyard during your main phase or battle phase. Okay. Just a big old floodgate. Big old floodgate, boy. The copy and pasta. Okay, I mean, that's, yeah. All seems pretty solid. Let's see what Ghost Trick's being said about. And obviously Infernoble Knight, because this is something we've had our eye on for a little while now. And if we noticed, the Fleur deck is still down here, but this is basically still a Fleur deck. So that's always a little bit confusing as well, but Ghost Trick can set up the strongest turn 1 in the game at the moment. However, its main issue is its turn 1 relies on what non-engine traps it draws. The engine itself still provides some defense with hand traps and Necro Valley, but some decks can deal with them pretty easily, like Predaplants using Tauti Dragon, or Infernoble Knight using Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. The deck has some bad matchups, but as long as Predaplants and Lyrilusk are around, Ghost Trick will remain a strong contender in the meta. Okay, I mean, originally we had Shadow, right, as the counter to Ghost Tricks. I don't know, like, what Ghost Trick's current, like, weakness is, I suppose. The main reason Infernoble Knights finds its way here is a very positive matchup against Ghost Trick. Okay, well, there we go. That answers our question immediately. When other decks, what most other decks lack, with the use of Gravity X Graal and the constant pops from Charles, Ghost Trick cannot establish a field, and Immortal Phoenix Gearfried helps push through hand traps to avoid giving Ghost Trick time to find a way out of Graal. Even going second, cards like Mistworm and Phoenix Gearfried can play through very few interaction. And cards like Sage de Fleur warrant a negate, or else it will break the whole field. Additionally, Infernoble has received a new endboard piece in Herald of the Arclight, which upon hitting the graveyard lets you search the Beaufort and allows Infernoble to at least have a realistic chance going first into Lyrilusk. This sounds like Infernoble's sounding like it's pretty good right now, right? Like, obviously this was like kind of on the we're keeping an eye on it, and now it's jumped all the way to tier 2. By the sounds of it, like, it seems like we've got kind of these 3, possibly 4, because Lyrilusk keeps getting mentioned as, like, oh, you need a way to deal with it. And, like, Lyrilusk has, like, an okay thing into, like, Predaplants. Like, Predaplants has, like, an okay matchup into Lyrilusk now because they have this one specific combo line. But, like, Lyrilusk is not being talked about as it was before, which was, like, the center of the meta. Now, this deck... the skill changes have finally come into effect, and Infernoble Knight has already showing results, or is already showing results. The deck has been performing well across various formats and maintaining a positive win rate. However, it struggles against Predaplant, so it'll be interesting to see if players find a solution to this matchup. by the sounds of it, we're in kind of a triangular-ish meta, right? Where Infernoble beats Ghost Trick beats Predaplant, Predaplant beats Infernoble. So it's almost just kind of taken the spot of Lyrilusk, right? Because Lyrilusk was in this triangle, but now Lyrilusk feels like it's outside of the triangle. Star Seraph has been struggling with the increased popularity of Predaplant and Borrelink. Against Predaplant, going first often requires Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, while going second is difficult to use, difficult due to Predaplast, Predaplant, Dragostapelia, changing your monsters to level 1, and Ensemble Robin, bouncing special summon monsters. The Borrelink matchup is also tough, as they can rip cards from your extra deck and set up monsters like Borreload Riot Dragon or Borreload Furious Dragon, which are hard to out due to protection granted by spells. Okay. I don't think we need to, like, go into all of this. Like, Borrelink is back. Just when we thought Borrelink was off the tier list, it's already back, which is very funny. And then, you know, Shark's off as well. Okay, so some interesting stuff going on here. Nothing, like, super crazy. Obviously, we don't expect the meta to develop a ton, right, until we get some new stuff. We've already been playing with, like, some of the changes. Obviously, the skill changes can just come in. But now we're going to talk about Stage 2 of the GRF, because people are going to be grinding it, right? So starting from, I believe, Friday, people will be grinding out Stage 2, and they will be basically trying to get as high as they can. Some people are going to be pushing top 100. Some people are going to be pushing, you know, more than that. Oh, that's not the right one. There we go. That's better. So this was our tier list that we originally came up with. Now, this tier list is more specifically for tournaments, and it's primarily based on tournament results. So this isn't going to translate one-to-one, but we made this tier list like 3 tournaments ago. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at it and see if anything has changed and if anything has like moved around. So we basically had Dark Galaxy as our number 1 deck. So let's take a look and see if Dark Galaxy is still the number 1 deck. Would you look at that? It is still the top performing deck, with 3 tournament wins, 13 top 4 finishes, 19, so also has top 8 finishes, as well as 35 total points, which gives it the biggest slice of the pie down here, which is, you know, it's pretty big, 35.4%. It's still, like, quite far away from how Metarian was in the past. It's not, like, a super duper dominant deck, but it's still doing very, very well, and it did just win the latest tournament that happened yesterday, so that is something. Then we got Metarian, which, would you look at that, Metarian is in 2nd place. It is very, very close, right? It's only got 3 less top 4 finishes when compared to Dark Galaxy. It also has won the same number of tournaments, which they are now both tied at 3. We have 18 top 8s with a total of 23 points. And down here we can see this lovely big red part of this, 28.3%. So it is about 7% behind Dark Galaxy, which is a noticeable chunk, but it's still well within the realms of, like, acceptability, right? Then the next on our tier list specifically was the Psychic Fusion. We had that at 1.5. And that is, again, the next highest performing deck. And it is noticeably a little bit chunk lower. It's only 17%. It's only won 1 tournament. So if anything, the Psychic deck has been underperforming. And I am curious as to why this is. Is this just because the deck's a bit more difficult to play? Is this because people haven't found the build that works best for them yet? This is one of the decks that we've seen the most experimentation with. Like, Metarian is basically solved, right? But it has been around for a lot longer. But Dark Galaxy is also basically solved, right? There's some people arguing about, should we have 5 boss monsters versus should we have 4? There's some people saying, should we have Corridor? But for the most part, we've kind of finished Dark Galaxy. There's not really a lot more going on. Whereas Psychic still needs a bit more. Some people are playing just 1 Katana. Some people are playing 2 Katana. Some people are playing Melody. Some people are playing Amalilith. Some people aren't. Some people are playing Negate Attack, whereas some people are playing Widespread Ruin. There's still a lot of experimentation going on in Psychic that the other decks still don't seem to have. I saw Psychic doing well in point battles. Yes, Psychic has been doing quite well in point battles, but then so has Dark Galaxy, so has Metarion, so has Light Galaxy, right? Like, a lot of these decks do quite well in point battles. And point battles are a bit of a weird one, because point battles can be an excellent place to get results from, but I never like taking a single point battles results like verbatim, right? I'm like, are we seeing a trend? Like, over the course of 10 point battles, are we seeing Psychic winning like a lot of them? And yes, Psychics have been doing very, very well in multiple point battles. So I see that as quite a big boon for Psychics. But it makes you wonder why they perform well in a point battle scenario, but are not necessarily translating that as well into tournaments. Is that just going to be because, you know, even if you get a couple of unlucky games in a point battle, as long as you don't get a string of bad luck, you just get back on the horse, right? You just go, 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 go. So it's like you just filter out the bad games. They don't matter so much as long as you are still getting that big chunk of good games in. Is it going to be something to do with matchups? Like some decks are more favored in point battles when compared to tournaments. A good example of this originally was Light Galaxy was being absolutely dominant in point battles, but was not translating that to tournaments as well. We were seeing Metarion perform a lot better in the tournament setting. So maybe there is something there. And it might be something about like fatigue as well. Like I think for the most part, people can play for like an hour and a half without their gameplay slipping. Like usually it's when you get to like the 3, 4, 5 hours is when people start like getting tired, right? And then they start making like these big mistakes. Psychic needs at least one good back row. A fourth back row would keep that defensive ability. I mean, you can play 4 traps and Psychics. I don't know if it would be like the ideal way to play it, but you can totally do it. The issue is Psychic has so many spell cards that they really want to use. Like even yesterday, we had the Psychic getting second place, played by Hans, and he was playing 10 normal summons and 15 spell traps. That is ridiculous, right? That means only a third of your deck are you able to actually just put on the field. Now, the skill can get you a bear, which is a normal summon, so you kind of always have access to a normal summon once per duel, but like, it's still a bit, ugh. I don't like that ratio myself, but you know. Yo, can't stay, but wanted to drop it for a sec. Hello, Koova. Hope you're having a great time, and thanks for stopping by. Mechlord's here as well. Hell yeah, the GOAT is live. Welcome on in, Mechlord. We were just talking about Stage 2 and the decks that we think are going to be performing quite well. Is that Giorfio as well? Yo, my favorite yapping stream of the week. I mean, that's basically what we do here. We try to play as few card games as actually possible, because we don't actually like card games, right? That's the trick, right? I don't actually enjoy playing card games. I enjoy just yapping at a camera. And the card games are simply the medium that allows me to yap at a camera. But no, in all seriousness, you know, it's good to see you, Giorfio. And we will actually be playing some ladder stage 1 later on today, once we get through those. And good morning, Card Fighter. Welcome on in. But yeah, Psychic, again, good deck. I wonder when we will actually get a solidified build. I feel like we're getting closer, but we still haven't got there yet. There are still some decisions in deck building that not everyone agrees on. So we'll have to wait and see what actually ends up happening there. But once again, this list still seems accurate at the moment. Thank you for the follow. I don't want to read that name out. I'm just not going to do it. Thank you for the follow. So what's next? So next up for us was the Worm Fusion deck. Now, Worm Fusion is well, it's in this like realm, but it's like fallen down a little bit. It's not currently in the order that we had it in. Worm Fusion basically is being hard carried by Ari. It's the only person to top 4 with this deck, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure both of the Worm Fusions are both Ari, which is playing the Secret Order version of the deck, which does seem to be the stronger version of the deck. Obviously, we know we could still go from there. We'll see what happens. What have I missed? Oh, Manica, she missed so much. She missed us talking about the speed tier list. And you've missed our initial yapping about the current meta and where we think we're going to be in GRF Stage 2. So then we got the Light Galaxy deck, which, you know, Light Galaxy, very simple to play. Very strong still. We did just see this win a tournament played by Renegade, but Renegade is kind of the actual... He's kind of the Light Galaxy guy at this point, I guess. Like, Renegade is the type of player that does seem to, like, champion a specific deck. Actually, the stream is ending right now. You're too late. RIP. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Ray has decided the stream is ending, guys, so we're just going to be saying goodbye now. But what we're going to do... Well, what we're going to do... Light Galaxy is still, like... It's still good. It's still strong. It still does outperform Dark Galaxy in terms of OTK potential. I think I will stand by that statement. Like, Light Galaxy can put its foot down and really get in for a ridiculous amount of damage in such a short space of time. Dark Galaxy still does that, but it does it lesser, right? So Light Galaxy is still going to be better at outwardly, like, just killing your opponent in a few turns. But, again, it can stall out. It will stall out. Dark Galaxy is kind of the better version of that, but it doesn't have that same early aggressive capabilities that Light Galaxy has. Then we have Cyber Dragon is what we had next. And would you look at that? Cyber Dragon right next to it. So the only thing we've got out of order even so far is Worms. That is literally the only deck that's now kind of in the wrong place on our tier list, and it's like barely, right? So Cyber Dragon, again, very consistent. It's a deck as old as time. The deck is realistically not going to go anywhere until it gets power crept. That doesn't seem to be yet. Cyber Dragon still has relatively strong bodies, which means it doesn't get bullied quite as much by the Galaxy decks. So it's always going to have that going for it. And this will always be a menace on the ladder. And especially where we're going to have so many speed players that don't actually play Rush that are still going to have a fully constructed Cyber Dragon deck. I would be surprised if Cyber Dragon wasn't showing up a lot during GRF Stage 2. And then there's Dragon Fusion, the Parko Special. So Dragon Fusion has got, finally, a top 4 finish in the Go Rush Grand Prix number 10. It's still a relatively strong deck. With the sudden almost disappearance of Light Galaxy, like we've seen 2 top 4 in this meta so far, that actually puts it in a pretty good spot. Because the weakness that the deck had originally was you could either build it to be like Galaxy, which would mean playing high attack and high defense, or you could build it to beat like some of the other aggressive decks, which meant putting a load of high defense monsters in, which is what we're seeing right now, right? Basically, the current Dragon Fusion build is put as many high defense monsters in as possible, so you don't just get absolutely destroyed by Dark Galaxy. And then because Dark Galaxy isn't killing you quickly, you just get all the time you need to find all the pieces and then just kill them. So like, Dragon Fusion's in a good spot, as long as Light Galaxy doesn't suddenly come back into the meta, and as long as Metarion isn't like super dominant in the meta. Because I think these 2 decks are still going to be pretty good into it. Psychic also, I think, has a okay matchup into Dragon Fusion. I haven't played it as much, but on paper, I would think Psychic has a pretty good matchup into that. We'll have to wait and see. Worm is OP Trust, just not many people play it Copium. I don't think the deck's bad. Worm is like fine, but it has some matchups that it's really good into, and some matchups that it's really not good into. And even if you're in a bad matchup, you can still win, right? Even a bad matchup can mean you're only going to win 40% of the time and lose 60% of the time. But 40% of the time is still winning a lot, right? So like, some ass Psychic player timed out against it yesterday after he got top 4 because of that. I am some ass Psychic player. So interestingly, this was a double elimination tournament, right? The Rush Duel Links Weekly 10. Now, if you look here, the top 8 was Psychic, 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 right? So 4 Psychics made it into that spot. Now, one of them, this Psychic, did not play in the losers bracket at all. So, 1 Psychic made it all the way through winners, and 4 Psychics all got knocked out in losers bracket. Which is like pretty bonkers, right? That means, you know, just by process of elimination, a Psychic lost to Cyber Dragon, a Metarion beat a Psychic, Dark Galaxy beat Psychic, right? So like, it's pretty interesting how that went down. Imagine calculating, I always swing. If it kills, it kills. If it doesn't, we scoop. Based. I didn't even calculate. I just need to think about how to combo. I think that is the thing, is Rush isn't like super complex. But like, whenever you're hit with a play where there's like 8 different lines you can make, it's suddenly like, well, usually I just click buttons. I just drag things onto the field and attack. So having any kind of thought at all, suddenly like your brain slows down. It's really weird. Because I experienced the exact same thing, where like you'll play speed and you'll have like memorized the combos and you'll have just done them so much they're muscle memory and just go ba 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 ba, get through my line as quickly as possible. But then like whenever like Rush has you do like the smallest amount of thinking, it's like, I lost to Dragon Fusion in Grand's tournament because I couldn't find a single back row removal for like 4 turns. I mean, that's basically how dragons win, right? They just stall you out. So if you're able to find what you need to just break their stall, you'll beat them. If you don't, they will just eventually find all their pieces and kill you, right? That is the Dragon Fusion way, which a lot of people will find very uninteresting, very boring, but you know, that's just the way the deck works. I'm telling you, Miss Mutton and the Servant of Dawn will rise up. They now play Grand Secret Order. Grand Secret Order. I'm going to assume it just means Secret Order there. But, Miss Mutton is kind of a meme, but Miss Mutton did almost win a Rushdoll Coliseum match. So, I'm just saying, right? Almost did manage to take it. Very close. Is that a multicolored pizza? I'm pretty sure it's a pie chart, not a pizza chart, but we can call it a pizza chart if that interests you. Thunder's won around. Yeah, Thunder's, I mean, so there was, what was it? It was Latin Kings. And Latin Kings brought with them, actually, I could just get it up, right? That should be relatively easy because Yaden was streaming it. So, if I go and do the smallest amount of research, I should be able to find... Actually, I'm pretty sure what I'm doing right now is even just a lot more effort than I need to put in. Should be able to just go over here, go to match reports. Where is it? Where is it? Latin Kings. Here we go. So we'll grab this, come over to here, type it in there. Bam! Look at that. There we go. Right. So this was one of the Rushdoll Coliseum games. For anyone that doesn't keep up to date with this, Rushdoll Coliseum is the Rushdoll like team battle league, I guess is the way to think about this. So we had the Miss Mutton fanboys versus Latin Kings, and Latin Kings is on a bit of a downward spiral at the moment, but because of that, they have nothing to lose, so they can just do whatever they want. So they brought Thunder, Beasts, and Earth Machines. So they brought Cointech, Miss Mutton, and Thunder Fusion, which is like so funny, right? That is like like respect as well. They won their first round, right? They beat Dark Galaxy, Metarion, Psychic Fusion, right? So this is like the most meta you can basically get. And they did actually manage to take a win. Now, the Miss Mutton fanboys is actually a relatively strong team, right? Tauros is obviously a fantastic player. He won a Challenger Cup, and he's been doing pretty well ever since. So Tauros Gaming, we would expect to be winning, right? If Tauros Gaming lost to this, we'd be like, oh, geez, right? But, like, you know, his partners, his other teammates, you know, they're fine. But, like, Tauros Gaming is, like, the good player here. Like, he's, like, the really, really strong player. So Tauros did actually win all 3 of his. So that's something. But round 1, again, the meme team got the win. Round 2, it wasn't even close, right? They got absolutely destroyed. And then round 3, it was actually all down to one game. Tauros Gaming versus Briar playing Cointech. If Briar had just won one more game here, bam, the meme team would have won, right? So also, welcome on in, a human Portuguese dub fan. I lost to Yaden game 3 because I forgot to send Prima. Oh, yeah, I've actually done that myself. I also lost a game in Grands because... Well, I lost a game, not the round, right? Because I forgot to click Prima's effect. Like, I just clicked next, like, go to battle phase. And I was like, oh god, I didn't use Prima's effect. Unfortunately, sometimes we just make stupid mistakes. Is that a Shui raid we see? Welcome, welcome on in, everyone from the Shui raid. I hope y'all had a great time watching Shui max out in the GOHA Rush Festival. What we need to do is this, though. We need to do that. There we go. There's the shout out to Shui. But I'm going to assume, obviously we couldn't catch the end because we started our stream, but I'm going to assume Shui did manage to cap out and make it to stage 2, where he is going to become a top 10,000 hero player. It was Cointech, Thunders, and Miss Mutton. Most base lineup ever. Meek-chan fanboys. Miss Mutton bros. Holy Miss Mutton went 2-1. It did. It did. I mean, it went 2-0 against pro player on Cyber Dragon as well. I think the funniest part of this was just... It was like the most meta lineup you've ever seen versus... like just the 3 like worst decks in the format, which I just absolutely love that so much. Taurus and Friends team, yeah, basically. Have you maxed GRF yet? No, CZ. We have not actually played a single game in the GRF yet. Not a single one. But yeah, that is basically it, right? If we're talking about actual tournament results, that is every deck that's played. So it's basically everything up to tier 2 has seen tournament representation in a top 8 finish. But the rest of these... if we sort this out, there we go. The rest of these decks, everything tier 3 and under, since the new meta and since the new box has come out, has not even topped a tournament. So, like, realistically, if we're talking about what we think is going to do well in the KC Cup, we're probably looking at tier 2 and up. So, what do we think is actually going to be a good deck to play, right? So, typically... you want to play decks that are going to win games quickly, because the way that the KC Cup works, or KC Cup's GRFs, and I suppose the Master Duel variant as well, is they set like a weird... they have like a weird system of elo where you'll gain points just for winning, and you tend to win more points and lose less points, which means a lot of the time playing more games is beneficial. It's not required, right? Because at the end of the day, your win rate is what's really going to matter the most. If you go like, if you have like 95% win rate, right? You're probably going to top, right? That's just how that's going to go, right? But if you're like a bit more middle of the pack, if you're kind of winning 50-50, that's when you want to be winning or playing a lot more games, right? That's when more games is going to be more beneficial, right? Hero got max in less than 3 hours. Clearly our tier 0 deck. I mean, we've got them in Rogue at the moment, Shui. They're not in, like, garbage tier. They're not down with the memes, so that's at least something. Worm top tier 3, top impossible. Well, I mean, if we were going to update this and we were going to go entirely based on the stats, it would go here, right? If we were going entirely based off tournament results, it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best performing deck. So it would just go, like, here. Like, it's moved 2 spaces, right? So it's not, like, a huge difference no matter where it ends up. But, like, the deck's doing okay, right? But based on the fact, again, if you're planning to try and get as many games in as possible, some of these are going to, like, move around, right? So, for example, these decks are probably going to be a little bit less inviting because they don't necessarily win the game very quickly and they do require a bit more thought to play. So I think we're probably going to be bumping like Light Galaxy up a bit and Cyber Dragon. I think these two are a lot more... they're a lot more like intuitive. They're a lot more easy to play. You know, as the kids say, they're a bit more unga bunga. And because of that, you can get through games a lot quicker and you don't have to use anywhere near as much brain power playing these decks, which a lot of people will have a lot better time with. Yami Ruler is much worse. That's right, we don't have to worry about the rest of these for now. Because, you know, we can just do this for now. It doesn't really matter. It's just that, you know, we're talking about the decks that we're going to be playing in GOHA Rush Stage 2, whereas this is like a tournament tier list, right? Speed doesn't really matter. It's most just all the meta decks that are good. So, right, in a typical ELO system, and I'm sure everyone already knows this, but you tend to gain points and lose points at a consecutive rate. I mean, people have already made loads of videos on this topic, right? In the Duel Links and the Master Duel formats, they tend to give you more points for winning than they take away for losing, right? So as long as you're able to maintain an okay win rate, it doesn't matter as much. Again, if your win rate is really, really good, it doesn't matter because you're going to be doing fine, right? But if you are one of those players that's going to be sat around like 52 to 55% win rate, having more games is going to matter more and more and more, right? That's how you look at it, right? As a Worm player, I hate the Rice Trap. I mean, that is understandable. It just kind of hurt exactly what you're trying to do. Worm at least have some decent matchups. Worm does have some decent matchups. I will agree with that. The non-fusion version of Yami Ruler is better, so yeah. I mean, I don't even know what that would look like at this point. For me, it's the same thing. Predaplant takes forever to play against. It got number 1. Yeah, but again, if your win rate is really, really good, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're going to get like a minimum of 1,000 points for a win anyway. So if you go like, you know, 20-0, you're going to be at 20,000 points plus anyway. Whereas if you have like a 50-50 win rate, that's going to completely change, right? Because it's suddenly going to go like up 1,000, down 700, up 1,000, down 600, up 1,000. Right? That's just kind of how it ends up going, right? Yami Ruler have turn 1. Field speed doesn't matter much. It's a valid strategy, but not really the best. I mean, yeah, obviously the best thing to do is just be a really good player, play the best deck, and win a lot. When I make videos on these topics, realistically, the best players that are going to be like top 10, they don't really give a shit about my videos because they already know all this stuff, right? These videos that I make typically are aimed more at the ladder-only players. They're the players that don't compete in tournaments. They're the players that constantly complain that Cyber Dragon is the strongest deck in the game because that's all they see on ladder, right? So you have to kind of adjust. Like, I'm not giving advice for, like, the Hanses. I'm not giving advice for the Giorfios. They already know what they're doing, right? This is for the players that are going to probably be around 50% win rate or lower, right? Maybe just for day 1. In day 1, I can see more Dark Galaxy than Psychic in top 100. Psychic depends, Omega Psychic. Hello, Mr. Tomato. Happy Thursday or Tuesday. Hello, Sakadetsu. Welcome. And is that Gunkan Suship Shari as well? The other tactic is a slow deck that beats quick, deals quickly, as seen in Master Duel with Stun. I mean, yeah, because if you can guarantee you're going to have a higher win rate, yeah, that's also, like, really, really good, right? Hello, chat. Hope you have a great day. Yami Ruler has fusion beaters than Worm. Matarian tier 2. Again, we're talking about specifically, this is going to be like the recommended tier list for people playing in GOHA Rush. Stage 2, right? That is all this is. And this isn't a prediction. This isn't what do we think is going to make top 100. We're not even really talking about the top 100, right? We're talking about the people that are just going to be seeing how far they can climb. Again, realistically, we already know who's going to be the top 100 players, right? We kind of already know that they're members of the community. They're players that are top 100 before. They're the players that know what they're doing. We already know that they're going to make it, right? This is like decks would you recommend someone play, right? Am I crazy that I kind of feel like Fusion deal Matarian with Golem over Script Skill? It's not bad, but I think it is almost unquestionable that Script is now the better way to play this deck. I don't even know how I would like change the names of these. What do we think? I mean, maybe we don't need to change them at all. We'll just leave them like this for now. But yeah, the idea is, right? The idea behind this list that we're making right now is not like, what do we think is going to perform the best? This is what decks would you recommend to a novice player to try and climb with in KC Cup, right? Now, realistically, would you recommend a novice player pick up like Psychic Fusion, right? A deck that, you know, world competitor Giorfio timed out trying to play in a tournament. Right? I don't think I would recommend them this deck, like, to that degree. Personally. Now, again, if people in the chat would recommend that to newer players, that's completely fine as well. You know, you could say that. But I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that we're not specifically here talking about you guys. You guys in chat, you are not the people that we're talking about. You guys are sat here, you know, watching a stream of some dude yap about decks to play in KC GRF Stage 2, right? You guys are already fine. You're all gonna do great. hello, Rio. I really need to, like, change this up. Because, again, we're talking about, as for like the 8th time, we are currently just going for decks we would recommend to new players of what to play in the GRF Stage 2. That is all this list is. What are you recommending? Again, like, my recommendation would be this, right? It's performing extremely... I mean, Dark Galaxy, right? I mean, it goes without saying. Dark Galaxy is performing the best in tournaments. It's performing extraordinarily well in point battles. The deck is pretty unga-bunga. It's very easy to play. It's very quick. It ticks all the boxes, right? If you want quick games, you want high win rate, you want easy to play, you want not burn out, bam, it's Dark Galaxy, right? This just, like, ticks all the boxes. Dragons, Sidra, Galaxy versions, those were my recommendation. I mean, yeah, I think you can still recommend these, like, the Metarian and the Psychic. It's just, they have to come with a caveat of, you can play these decks, you might burn out. Like, could you imagine playing, like, 6 hours straight of, like, Psychic? Like, I think by the end of those 6 hours, my brain would be frazzled. I'll tell you that much. You should recommend Best Across. Maybe in, like a meme video. What's the issue with Metarian Tier 2? I think Metarian Tier 2 is also, like... I think if we were making, like, an actual tier list for, like, tournaments, we'd probably still put Metarian back into Tier 1, because, like, the deck is still performing very well. Just play vanilla beatdown deck Stage 2 to get the sweet gold border. I mean, yeah, that's definitely fine. Blue Eyes with Phoenix, what do you think? Blue Eyes with Phoenix. I think the deck would probably be, like, fine, but it's probably just worse Cyber Dragons, which might sound a bit weird, but Cyber Dragons is a deck that quite easily just gets big bodies on the board, and bodies that have decent attack and defense. And Blue Eyes does basically the same thing. You just get bodies on the board that have decent attack and defense. Now, Cyber Dragon get the ability to attack twice, and they get the big piercer, whereas Blue Eyes gets the ability to sometimes pop a monster, and one time in the game, wipe your opponent's board. So, like, they're both very similar. They both have a very similar game plan, at least in my opinion. Is it supposed to be higher or lower? I think some people want it to be higher, Jorfio. Arman Terza is an NPC, not an unlockable character, so sad. Yeah, it does make me very sad. There's a chance she might come as an unlockable character later. Apparently that has happened in Duel Links before. Also, welcome on in, Zaki boys. You want gems to be spent. I like Fusion Deal Metarian too, but can't ignore how good plussing off of Draw Reincarnation alongside Sending. I would probably play Psychics for 6 hours. Also, hello, Badge. I missed your message. I saw your message earlier, but we never said hello. Yeah, it's... like, don't get me wrong, I like this deck. I will probably be playing Psychic in the GRF. But I wouldn't recommend to, like, ladder-only players that probably just spend most of the time jamming, like, their one pet deck. I wouldn't recommend them to play... So maybe that's the wrong expression to use, because they're probably just going to play their one deck anyway. But I wouldn't recommend, like, a Rush Tourist, for example, to come in and pick up Psychic. Like, it's a lot of investment. You have to go in so many different boxes. Again, the deck is a little bit complex. It's not crazy complex. Let's not pretend it's like, oh, you need a 5-head Giga Brain to play it. But it is more complicated than the decks around it, right? That's just a fact. I think Blue Eyes White Dragon makes more sense with other Limit 3. What's the other Limit 3? Are we talking about the... crap, what's his name? The one that reduces attack based on a monster's attack on your field. Shock Dragon. We talk about Shock Dragon. Blue Eyes with Phoenix is still meme. I mean, yeah, the main issue for me with that deck is it still doesn't have a consistent way to beat set 3, right? Like, if your opponent just walls up, you just can't really do anything about it. That kind of feels a bit bad. You have 7 tributes, so you already got the high levels in hand. Blue Eyes White Dragon not having access to its good fusions makes it not as nice as Cyber Dragon. Also, hello! Nerd named BT, welcome on in. So, for me as well, the big thing with specifically Blue Eyes is even in the OCG, Blue Eyes, or at least like when Blue Eyes first came out, and to an extent up to this point, even though I think it's like fallen off quite a lot since then, the main way Blue Eyes got damage in through, again, a defensive board was Burst Stream of Destruction. So you would play the deck in a way where you just had to get Burst Stream, use it, wipe your opponent's board, and then basically OTK them. So you would still be able to get some decent chip damage in, but actually like finishing them off was quite difficult without Burst Stream. So for me, it's the single copy of Burst Stream of Destruction is what is holding Blue Eyes back. I think if we got the 3 copies, I think Blue Eyes could actually do quite well. Just because like having 3 Regekis is actually kind of good, right? I tried everything B, Blue Eyes, still think the deck is mid. Well, not mid, but bad. I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. Blue Eyes is a rogue. I mean, it's going to be like kind of a lowish rogue probably. It'll probably do okay on the ladder, but like in like a tournament setting or like a highly competitive setting, it's probably going to do super good. Wait, I just realized Seventh of Dawn can play Mismatched Rivalry. Still waiting for Orbital to be an unlockable character. Trying to think who Orbital is. Isn't Monarch limit 3? Yes. The big one is, I believe. Is current Psychics the deck that needs the most different boxes? I would probably assume so, because Psychic has cards from like so many different boxes, but some of the cards do also have reprints. So I haven't like gone through and checked, like if you'd actually need to go through, but like, yeah, it will have a lot of boxes regardless. Probably it's 9 total boxes, 1 deck build, 3 runs of Kaleido Mirror, and probably 3 of the new one. Wait, it's 9? I think Geoffrey is probably being hyperbolic. But it could be 9, I don't know. Candy. Galaxy best deck. 7 stream streak. I mean, yeah, Dark Galaxy is currently performing the best at the moment. Starry Start the last box. Does Call of the Earthbound do anything against Dark Galaxy? It can. But against piercing decks, it's generally weaker. Because all you really do is redirect an attack that would do a lot of damage to something to make it do a bit less damage. So, like, I wouldn't recommend it for that matchup specifically. You can get off fine without Starry Start in my experience. You can, to be fair. I have top 4'd without Star... Well, I played with 1 Starry Start, so that's not quite the same thing. I've actually been personally preferring a 2 Starry Start build. I know a lot of people are on 3, but I had 2 games back-to-back where I just opened triple Starry Start and I went, I don't want to do this anymore. So I've just bumped it down to 2. Whether or not that's correct or not, that's a whole other question. But that's just what I've been doing. And it's been working fine. Sets of Regeki can get you only so far. Look at Void Velger and their 4 Dark Holes. Well, you know, that deck did okay for a bit. So I'm more referring to back when Blue Eyes was first, like a deck released in the OCG, right? Because like I even played in one of the Witch's Kitchen locals and got 5-0 playing Blue Eyes. And it was, again, mostly off of having access to 3 Regekis. Now, it's not entirely that, obviously. And I don't think that would fly these days. That's why we're not seeing Blue Eyes as like a particularly strong deck in the OCG metagame. But at the time, it was kind of good. And right now, again, we're not in the accelerated meta that we currently have in the OCG. We're not seeing, you know, Sunset Rebirths. We're not seeing all of these ridiculous, like Cosmo, right? Jest. We're not seeing Jest currently in Duel Links, right? So until we get to that, like, accelerated meta where it actually does catch up to OCG, I think just 3 copies of the Burst Stream would probably make the deck playable, or at least very viable in Duel Links. Especially if we get a way to recycle spells. That would be actually insane if you could, like, have more than the 3, right? But I would never cut Starry Start from it. What you think is coming in the next box? Manabu in the next box? I mean, I would like that, but again, Manabu's cards is just kind of, like, until he gets his maximum, it's just going to be Salamander and friends with, like, a couple of other, like, bad boss monsters, like Phlogiston. So, like, I don't know what you would do with him outside of giving him a really broken skill. And I think it would be a bit like Join Tech and High Tech Dragons at the moment, where Yuama and Yuhi aren't really doing anything. So there's, like, the machine good stuff pile that we've been seeing with a Join Tech skill. But that's not really Join Tech, right? So, like, I would expect that if he does come out, it'll probably be a nothing character for a bit, in the same way that Yuhi and Yuamu are. 3 of Candy Mini plus 3 of the latest Mini. Could be less if you use Dream Tickets. Is Forever Freeze worth considering versus Dark Galaxy? Yes. I'm not going to say it's an auto-include, but it is good into that matchup. Now, the downside is it's not good into much else. Like, it's still good, right? Yeah, against worms, that's great. Against dragon fusion, sure, that's great. Against, like, psychic cyber dragon, it's good against exactly ancient gear golem, but it's like, do you find your one of before they find their one of? I mean, you could make the argument that dragon can shuffle it back in, or machine can shuffle it back in, so it could eventually get value. Light Galaxy, sometimes it's good against, but sometimes it's not. Against, like, Metarion, it doesn't do anything. So, like, it's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one. Every time you said Starry Start, I just hear Starry Start. I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? Monabu entire first original wave was really just Barrier Statue and then a box of vanillas. Let's just bring out Barrier Statue. Imagine they give Manabu a skill which is just like summon Barrier Statue. Like from outside of your deck, Barrier Statue appears on the field. That would be funny. Now, that would probably be toxic, but it would still be very funny. Chemicalized Salamander. What are current most difficult upcoming characters to work with, including like giving support or the cards they start with for Go Rush? I mean, alright, so like we were saying, Manabu is a bit of a weird one because early Go Rush characters don't really have like decks. They have like a collection of cards that are all from like the same type. So Manabu's whole thing is just fire. And his initial cards are all pyro. So he's just the fire pyro guy. And there isn't really much synergy outside of like some of them burn. There's not really a lot going on there. It's when you start getting to like Rovian and the Lug, that's when decks start having like strategies, and that's when decks start evolving into actual like archetypes. So when you get to Rovian, we'll get the wind psychics and the equip spells. That will start getting a bit more interesting. Then when we get to the Lug, that's when we get the fusions, and that's when shit really starts getting cool, right? Like we'll get the dragon, and we'll get the Dragius and the Dragius fusions. We'll get Eternal Galactica Oblivion. We'll get all the Dark Galaxy fusions. We'll get the Pyro fusions. We'll get like there's so much that will come alongside fusions being introduced to Go Rush. Now, Konami don't have to wait until they release the Lug to actually do that. But I think it would make sense to, right? Especially like the anime-specific fusions, release them with the Lug, right? That's what would make sense to me. Which of the current Rush staples would we have more of a chance of getting in Duel Links? That's tough. The one I always see people say is Shiny Shady. Shiny Shady is a card that sees a lot of play right now in OCG. And just by that statement alone, I don't really want it in Duel Links. Although the card does a lot, right? The card would be a really good deterrent to like big OTK plays. Having a modern card, like a card that modern that is seeing that much play, it's like seeing play in like every deck, or at least like in side decks, would mean that card will probably never be leaving your deck, right? That is a card that will go into your deck and will remain there until we catch up to the OCG. So that you're talking like 3, 4, 5 years of this card just being a staple in your deck, right? So that's why I don't like the idea of it personally. But I guess you could make the argument that like Slime is already that. Until we get more traps that power creep Slime, people are probably just going to keep playing Slime, right? I got top in Grand with Freeze and Trap Hole in Dark Galaxy, just saying. I mean, yeah, but you specifically built Dark Galaxy just to hard counter Dark Galaxy, right? And you also played that in a tournament where most of the people in the tournament were playing Dark Galaxy. So you had pre-sided for the matchup that like 90% of people were on. So by that logic, yeah, it's fantastic, right? In a side deck format, 100%. Give us Terza waifu, don't make her an NPC. I mean, I think we will probably get her as a character later. I would think they would convert her from NPC to character at some point, because her deck is really cool as well. Like, her deck is one of my favorite decks in Rush. Like, just in general, I just really like the Reptile deck. Isn't Barrier Statue the only forbidden card in Rush at the moment? Yes. Chemicalized Draw. Oh, could you imagine? Noodle Cesso. I mean, more Noodle cards would be good, but again, that's going to come from the 7 side of things. Barrier Statue, but you have to do the same requirement as Baronne Skill and Speed. Big Chicken Max always looks cool. Yep, and when we do get to the maximums, that will probably be one of the first ones that comes out, and that will be really cool to play. Shiny Shady would just make Secret Order even more of a pain. Yeah, that is a very good point, BT. Again, I don't want Shiny Shady. What I want is everyone's like type-specific traps to come out. I think that would be cool. Like, there are so many type-specific traps we just don't have yet. And I kind of get it. Like, we've been getting generic traps, and I get it. I get why. But some of the archetypes in Rush are balanced around having trap cards that other types don't have. So not getting them feels kind of weird. And also, you could artificially just boost the decks that are underperforming by just giving them their traps. And then when the other decks start underperforming, you then start giving them their traps, right? You could just start doing that. But Konami really don't like trap cards for whatever reason. I wonder if we get a Super Mini for Dark Galaxy / Tech Dragons and Joint Tech. I mean, possibly. I think Shiny Shady having a long shelf life is fine. It's not necessarily like a bad thing, right? What I'm saying is, Slime will eventually get power crept. You won't always want to use Slime. You will always want to use Shady, right? Unless they put something else that is more broken than Shady at the same limit that Shady is at, you will just always use that card. You'll never take it out of your deck. And to me, that is a bad precedent to set. Yeah, called a Metacool. It's not siding if that's the format. But again, like, what if just there weren't that many Dark Galaxy players, right? And you can say it's not siding, but it is. Those are side deck cards that you just put in the main. That is just a fact. Kemi draw. Shiny Shady, good card. Give us the Reborn traps already. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of traps that I would love to just come out, right? It's like the latest thing we got. We got, what, one new trap that was limit 1, and then we got a bundle trap that was also limit 1. So they were like, you can have 2 traps, but you must pick one. And one was just so much better than the other. It was like, okay. I want them to code Windstorm Aquata for Rush and then add it to Rush. I mean, they could do that. I'm pretty sure Windstorm is not. I'm just going to open this quick. I'm pretty sure it's not a Rush card. Let me have a look. Speaking of Shady, there she is. I'm sure Windstorm is not a Rush card yet. Sure it's not. Yeah, it's not. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, there are just so many like good trap cards, like Shiny Shady, for example, right? This card's just insane. Sunset Rebirth, another just absolutely insane trap card right now. I hear you, but there are. Most of the meta is Dark Galaxy at the moment. Last format with Metarion getting the same numbers. We started taking out Slime. We come up against Metarion. The difference is, though, that we haven't been having the same numbers. That would be my pushback there. Metarion was seeing more representation. This Grand Rush, or the Rush Grand Prix, the Go Rush Grand Prix, in my opinion, now you feel free to disagree, I feel like this was an outlier compared to all the other tournaments we've been having. We have been seeing Dark Galaxy been played a lot. We have not seen it be played as a percentage of the entrance anywhere near what the Go Rush Grand Prix's representation of it was, right? So I would make the argument that if we saw the standard representation, which is a much smaller Dark Galaxy pool, then maybe your text wouldn't have worked out as well. I think you got, either you correctly predicted or got lucky, or everyone just decided to play Dark Galaxy on this day, and it worked out in your favor, right? So, will that happen in every tournament going forward? I don't necessarily think so. Could it happen? Certainly could. 100% could. Windstorm would be so easy to code. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but again, it has to come out. We don't have any Duel Links unique Rush cards yet. We do have that in Speed. We don't have them in Rush yet, right? Go Kiteroid, bring in manga exclusive Kaizo support. Right, but as you said, the meta will be all over the first few weeks, then it will set down and it will be standardized. Also, Freeze was for Worm and Trap Hole was for Psychics 2, not just Dark Galaxy. I mean, yeah, but like, we wouldn't... so, for example, we wouldn't expect to see many Worms, right? Now, again, if you were like, okay, Worms are my bad matchup, therefore I will put this into counter Worms. Again, that's completely fine, right? But it just so happens that it does, this specific tournament was mostly Dark Galaxy. And your statement was, I got really far in this tournament where everyone was playing Dark Galaxy, playing these cards that work against Dark Galaxy. So that's why I said what I said, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I put the rest of these, to be honest. I think in terms of like recommending players, I think this is probably as I leave it. Like, I don't think we actually need to change this around too much. I think realistically, the majority of people playing, and again, this doesn't mean top 100, but I think the majority of people playing in the second stage are going to be on this, this, and this. I think that probably makes the most sense. You're going to be running mostly into Dark Galaxy, Light Galaxy, and Cyber Dragon, because these are what the, like, a lot of the non-tournament players are going to be on, right? This is just the most popular deck. I think that goes without saying. These decks are really, really strong, really, really fun, and, you know, just have pretty good matchups into a lot of stuff that's going on. The irony is I lost top to Dark Galaxy because I didn't draw the boss and they did. That's always very disappointing, right? It's like in our latest Rush Duel Coliseum games, I had 2 games where I just never found any bosses. And like there was a point where I activated Negate Attack and I was like, okay, if I find like a boss, I can just win the game here. And then we just didn't draw any bosses. And it was like, oh, well, because that's the thing, right? You play so many, and then it's not just like the hand you draw for turn, because it's like the 5 you draw for hand for turn. But then you're also going to use your skill, which is then going to mill another 3. So you're looking at 8. Then if you have a Cataphractos, you're looking at 9. So it's like, I should be able to find a boss in like the top 9 cards of my deck. And then, you know, sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you just don't. And that's just how it goes. And it sucks. But, you know, that's the game. That is just the game. But yeah, I think this is how I would leave this. Again, this is just Go Rush Grand Prix. Recommending to like newer players. I think I would always just recommend Dark Galaxy. It definitely seems like the strongest. Light Galaxy, Cyber Dragon. I would still recommend these 2 decks, but with the caveat that they do require a bit more brain power to play. And then probably these 2 afterwards are also probably fine. I don't know if any of these like lower decks should be bumped up. Like, would you recommend a newer player play one of these decks down here in the Go Rush Grand Prix Stage 2? Luck always being a factor in Rush. I mean, it would always be a factor in any card game, right? Sometimes you draw 5 spells in the finals twice. Exactly, Hans. Although I will say, I don't think you did yourself any favors by playing 15 spell traps. But even if you were playing, you know, the standard 12, right, which I think 12 normal summons is the usual, right? I think it's the standard psychic build at the moment. You can still just open 5 spell traps, right? You could be playing only 5 spell traps in your deck and still open 5 spell traps, right? You can draw 5 spell traps playing Dark Galaxy, which plays a record, like, low number of spell traps. That's just how it goes. GOHA Rush Grand Prix. I mean, I'm now trying to remember what we're... If I've done a Freudian slip, or if we're just talking about something else now. People will gravitate to Hero since it's a fan favorite, but it's kind of auto-loses to Metarian. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't recommend players play Hero, personally. Because you got to remember, a lot of people that watch the videos as well are going to be people that are looking for, like, some advice of just, like, how to climb, right? It was an experimental list, but yeah, like, I mean, it still made it all the way to 2nd place, right? So there is that. No one can take that away from you. You can play just Pot in your in your Dark Galaxy deck and keep milling Pot with Cataphract. Ah, yes, but if you're only playing Pot of Avarice, you can't brick on 5 spell traps. It's physically impossible. So there is something there, you know? Alright, what else did we want to do? I think this is basically fine. I don't think we need to change anything else here. Like, maybe you could make an argument that, like, Blaster's Inferno could come up or something, but... I'd say Metarian, Light Galaxy go fast. Sidra actually has good matchups at the most, so it's safe for more new players. Wouldn't recommend Psychics unless you have a really high win rate, as the time to points is not worth it if you keep winning than losing. Dark Galaxy probably going to be the best deck here, as it is good OTK, sacking, and good cards. Worm, no. I think Worms is, like, fine. Again, it's in tier 3, so, like, it's not here to, like... You know, it's not here to to win, get you to top 100. I think playing just Worms casually on the ladder, you could get like top 1,000 quite easily. Sheer representation is all Hero will have. Easily the largest fanbase group that play/try it in Rush. Also budget. Yeah, I mean, the Hero deck is like, it's fun. That's the other thing. It is genuinely fun to play in Duel Links. It's just not having a great matchup into a lot of decks right now and lacking just some of the tools it needs to push a bit higher, I think. I genuinely think Worms are beyond cope. Oh, don't say that. Poor Ari. See, look, Worms top 4. Worms top 4. Look at this pie chart. You see this? This right here? Wait, where is it? There. This cyan, that's Worms right there. It's got 4 points. It's 4% of the total meta. See? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Finally, we agree on something. Worm as they are now, just too slow. I think Worms is like, it's not a strong deck, but it's like, it's tier 3 worthy. Like, I think tier 3 is perfect for this deck. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is going to have like a super great win rate against everything above it. But this deck, if you just don't draw like ass, is quite good into things like Light Galaxy. It is quite good into Dark Galaxy. It just is. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this deck has a really bad matchup into Metarion, and it has a really bad matchup into Psychics. I also think that, again, if you draw badly, it can get shit on by any of these other decks. But I still think Worm was like fine. Worm with no solidified identity is choosing between Maximum Fusion or Vanilla Beatdown. Yes. So my preferred way to play the deck at the moment is basically Vanilla Beatdown, but with like with like Fusion as like, I don't want to say that the backup plan. It's a weird one. I really still like Worms with the old skill, but playing it as Vanilla Beatdown. The only problem with that is, if you don't draw your field spell, the deck is ass, right? And if your field spell gets focused down, it's still ass. So I still like the new skill because it gets you the field spell. But then the issue with that is then you can't beat set 3 unless you make the fusion. So you're kind of forced to go down the fusion route. Being reliant on the field spell is so bad. I mean, yeah, but that's why the new skill kind of sorts you out a little bit there. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, like, Worms is not like a tier 2 deck, right? It's not nowhere near a tier 1 deck, but I think a tier 3 deck is fine. Like, it's as competent, I would say, as like Dragon Fusion. Fusion is like in case of emergency. So for me, the biggest issue with the deck as it is right now, because again, you can build this deck. In my perfect world, I wouldn't even play the Fusion. Right? But we don't have a piercing. We don't have any way to get through set 3 pass with this deck right now. My perfect way to play this deck is basically build Dragon Control, where you just go build Dragon, bring back Drake Crush, ideally get out another Drake Crush or get out like a Shovelon. Just have them all boosted by the field spell, which you can get back every single turn just by using your skill in case it goes anywhere. And then just beat your opponent up. But without the old skill to give us the piercing, that doesn't work. Without being able to go into the fusion and pop 2 monsters out of the way, again, it doesn't really work. Because you can just get stalled out, right? If you're against Dragon Fusion, they'll stall you out and just kill you. If you're against Metarion, they'll probably just stall you out and kill you. If you're against Psychic, they will probably stall you out and then kill you, right? So, like, it's awkward. It puts it in a weird spot. And that's, again, if we had, for example, Autumn Leaves, like if we had, bring it up again. If we had just this one field spell, instead of Peaks of Blistopia. Have I spelled Autumn wrong? Yeah, I have. If we had this, instead of Peaks of Blistopia, I'd be like, Worms tier 1 deck. Absolutely fantastic. But we don't have this. So Worms are a tier 3 deck. That's kind of how I look at it. But this card is so unbelievably strong. 300 attack and piercing, just to all your Worms. It's just so unbelievably good. And this would, in my opinion, tier 1. Just to understand what advantage Worms has against anything else on the field spell doesn't even help you against decks like Dark Galaxy because they're still bigger than you. So the thing is, in my experience, and again, this is just my experience, so take it with a pinch of salt, right? Worms shits on Dark Galaxy. And that's because Worms is able to consistently just sit there and get out 29 and 2800 bodies again and again and again, right? That's kind of how I look at it. Dark Galaxy's biggest weakness is when they can't just get a crap ton of damage in. Dark Galaxy tends to win games by attacking over a defense position monster and getting a crap ton of piercing in, or attacking over your whip that you've left in attack mode and getting in a crap ton of damage in. And if you just don't give them that opportunity, if you're just playing big guys, they can actually really struggle to kill you through that. And because of that, you can just say, all right, I'm going to lose my board, but I'm only going to take 600 damage this turn. I'm just going to rebuild it again next turn, clear your board, and then it's up to you again. Do you want to clear my board and do 600 damage again? Like, that's just how I've been experiencing anyway. The stack, also nice for very specific cards. The stack, also very nice for very specific cards. The stack. I don't know what we mean by that, BT. Doesn't the field spell proc the pop 2 worm? Yes, it does. You need to send a field spell to the graveyard to get the pop 2 for the fusion. Autumn field spells requirement. Ah, right. Yes. The activate by placing a worm from your graveyard on top of your deck. Yes, which again, there are some cards which are like, look at the top card of your deck, mill the top card of your deck. I mean, we have some of them already, right? We have Mixer. I don't think, is it Draftanium? I don't think he's going to be relevant. Is Helmet? Does Helmet require a card from the top of your deck? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've actually played like OCG Worms. Yeah, I think like Worms is like fine. Again, would I recommend a new player pick up Worms? Probably not, but I still think this has like an okay matchup into like this and possibly this as well. So next selection cards, Rima Fusion, Worm Field Spell, and well, I don't think we're gonna get Autumn Leaves anytime soon, because Autumn Leaves it's really good. It's really good. There are so many Worm Field Spells. I don't think they're going to give us this. It's been a while since you played games on stream. Listen, right? Playing games is overrated, okay? We just yap here. That's all we do. I'm not really sure where Worms are going to go, like, immediately. It's tricky. It really is tricky. I think what they could do is just buff the old skill. I don't think that would be a bad idea. Because that's something that they don't do often enough, is go back and buff the old skills. Like, give, like, 7's Axel Road a buff. Does anyone care? No one's playing 7's Axel Road anymore. As long as you don't over-buff it and make it absolutely broken. Just make it more playable, right? What if we get that weird Max Fusion level 10 worm? Oh, you're talking about, oh Christ, what is it even called? Worm. This thing. You talking about this? Infinite Heavy Cavalry Build Dragoon, which is you contribute summon this card in attack position by attributing a maximum monster. If you have 10 or more cards in your deck and the only monsters in your graveyard are worms, draw a card, then you can fusion summon by sending worm type monster from your hand or field to the graveyard as material. He's a cool guy. He's just a chill guy. Gaming is for nerds. Oh, he's hit the nail on the head there, lads. Hello, Jambo. Welcome. I swear Amnesia will not be as good. Don't worry. Amnesia will show up. In my opinion, next step for Worms is probably just Blast Hammer. I mean, probably. There aren't that many Worm cards left that aren't the Fire Worms. The other thing is that Dark Galaxy is typically generating you a bunch of advantage. Like your skill is almost always a +1, and Worm's skill is at best a neutral. That is very true, but you do also have access to Build Dragon, which, you know, is going to be a -1 to summon it, but then, or a -2 to summon it, and then it will give you one of that back, so it counts as like a discount, right? Because you can bring back a body, especially when that body can be Drake Crush. That means effectively, right? Now, again, you kind of have to squint at this, right? But if you were to summon, for example, 2 boss monsters, typically, you would have to normal summon, tribute out, then normal summon, tribute out. So that's 6 cards, right? To get out 2 bosses. That's your standard get out 2 bosses. So if you summon out Build Dragon and then get back Drake Crush, you've normal summoned, tribute out your guy. So that's a 3-card investment. And then you've just, for free, gotten another boss monster. So you've effectively just saved 3 cards, right? So that's sort of like a +3. Now, I know it's not a +3, but if you squint at it, it's still very good value. And that is exactly why Secret Order is so powerful as well, because, like Galaxy have been doing this for ages, it's just like basically getting a free +3, right? Or +2, depending on how you kind of think of it. Because you give up the card itself, but then you get a card that's worth 3 cards, so you've ended up getting a +2 off of that, right? Like, it's so powerful. And again, you can play Secret Order in Worms, which is, again, sort of like plussing. Again, it's not the same thing, in the same way that Globule isn't technically plussing. But, you know, card economy-wise, you still do save a lot of cards. Reboot in next selection. I mean, Red Boot could be. It's around the time that we should be getting Red Boot, right? Yeah, this guy. Surely early release of Chimeratech Sidra Contact Fusion's next set, spoiling next OCG. Oh, could you imagine? It's going to be interesting to see what they actually do with that, because we're getting a Harpy Lady one as well. Because it's a bit weird, right? Because the Cyber Dragon deck is called Chimeratech. So we're like, hold, Chimeratech's coming to Rush. That's pretty cool. And then the Harpy one's just called Harpy Lady Sisters. And we're like, Harpy Lady Sisters is already in Rush. That doesn't mean anything. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Very weird to me. But yeah, if we go and take a look at Worms again, right? If we look at the cards that are actually out, or we look at the cards that aren't out even, right? Like, what is left that we... So all the fusions. Okay, that's fine. We haven't got Gantry yet. That's an Earthworm. Because again, the Earth ones are the ones that matter. Because they aren't... The Fire ones are going to be a Go Rush character, so it's like a different character. So we don't expect to see them yet. Tomato just got my first Goki board. Nice. I don't know. I just don't think the Vanilla Beatdown is the answer. The Vanilla Beatdown, though, is very, very strong, right? If you think about it, right? Dark Galaxy is basically Vanilla Beatdown with Piercing. Like, there's more to it, right? Like, Requiem can get kind of big. It can get up to, like, 4,000. Elysium can change guys to defense and can get the trap protection. Some of the other cards, like, are relatively okay. But effectively, you're just summoning out big guys with Piercing and slapping your opponent. So, like, if this deck can do basically that as well, that's also pretty good. Like, they're fundamentally going to be the same. But yeah, we need Gantry. We still haven't got the Coiled Dragons yet, which, the Coiled Dragons are bad anyway, so I don't think that matters. Then there's, like, these two, which is Traylon and Dragline, which are Go Rush support, but they could come out early. And then you've just got all the Fire guys, right? And then, like, you know, Phantomite, which, you know, if you know, right? The Darkness stuff is going to be out much later. And that obviously goes for Prime Phantomite as well. But there aren't actually that many Worms left to come out, right? Like, realistically, we're going to get Gantry, we're going to get the 2 Coil Dragons, and we're going to get Wheel and Woe. And then that's going to be it. That's us done with 7's Worms. But that's enough of the Worm tangent. I don't think there's really much else to talk about, is there? I don't think there's even any new... I mean, I guess we can talk about the Rush OCG stuff that's come out. So there is a couple of things that we want to look at. So, for example, we want to look at this, we want to look at this, and we want to look at this. So let's take a quick gander at Prepare to be Stung by Delirium Calibron. So, a little mill, a little bit of aggro, a little bit of recovery. So this is a level 7 light insect effect monster, 2500 attack, 1200 defense. If there is a light insect monster in your graveyard, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains 500 attack to the end of this turn. Then you can choose Delirium Sylvix in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Ghost Amigo just comes straight in. Rush Coliseum Prediction. Rush Coliseum Prediction? What even prediction do you want? Like, who's going to win? I mean, like, Rush Japan Blue's been performing the best, right? I can't even remember what Delirium Sylvix is. But, like, it's a plus. Gain 500 attack. Does a bit of milling. I mean, it's fine. Who makes playoffs? Who makes playoffs? I mean, I would expect both Rush Japan teams to make playoffs. Latin Queens are going to make playoffs. Probably Roa Roman Fangirls. I would expect... Probably Miss Mutton Fanboys. I mean, BG, Barrage Gaming's got to make it, right? Or a recap of what happened. I mean, we've already kind of talked a little bit about that earlier. Like, we already went over this whole thing. Just get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that as well. But yeah, this card is cool. And then the next one we got was the Dynamix Original Sidekicks limp back in. So we already saw that the Dinosaur Maximum is getting 2 new pieces, a new L and a new R. So what they've done is they're giving us non-maximum retrains of the old L and R. So now we have Dynamic Dino Tyranno, which is like, okay, if the only monsters in your graveyard are dinosaurs, send a card from your hand to the graveyard, destroy a spell trap. That's fine. Like, having to give up a card from your hand is kind of tough, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. And then there is Dynamic Dino Dinotops, which is during the turn this card is normal summoned. If the only monsters in your graveyard are dinosaur monsters, choose an Earth Dinosaur Maximum in your graveyard and add to your hand. So this is just a bit of extra consistency for the Dinosaur Maximum, which is pretty cool. Unemployed Maximum piece is sad. Yeah, they just, you know, they had to move on and do something else. Now they just support the Max. And then we have Delirium Drone. So this is level 2. If there is another face-up light insect monster on your field, change this attack position card to defense position. This is quite common for a lot of the insect cards. A lot of them do just summon, then immediately change to defense. Send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then you can choose one face-up monster on your opponent's field, change its type to insect until the end of the opponent's next turn. Again, this is quite common. And that's it. That's it. It mills, which I guess is the nice part of this, because insects didn't have that many millers until these 2 last cards have come out. And then we can change opponents' guys to insects, and then the other cards do stuff based on your opponent having insects. So, with all that done, I think it's time that we hop in to play some GOHA Rush Festival with our Amnesia deck. I don't think we probably need the tier list up there. Let's get rid of that. Alright. We're also going to grab some water. Alright, let's see what our first game is against. Amnesia Rush. That sure is a hand. Let's go over our skill again before we forget. If you send a level 6 high monster if you're good, then make it 2 face-up monsters, 1 level 6. So we don't have any level 6s, so we can't use our skill pretty much at all. I guess we're just going to set 2. Because, like, what else is this hand realistically doing? We basically have to wait until we find some level 6s. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It might be fine. You never know. So this is... What? What? Okay. I mean, I guess we'll go Amnesia. We'll flip. We're going to go ahead and activate the skill. We'll send this to the bin. Boost this up. So there's no point to do much of anything else that's like particularly crazy. We can summon this. I mean, how much damage is this currently? That's 32, 54. We don't have three galaxies in the graveyard. That's pretty funny. I could get a 3rd one into the graveyard, but like, would that change anything? This still wouldn't be able to boost. The attack point wouldn't change, so it would be an extra 300 damage, which is not lethal. So we just go battle. Go get him, champs. Then we'll pass. So if we tributed over for one of these... Oh, I could have tributed over that, and that would have been lethal. No, it wouldn't. Because I would have lost the boost that we got from the skill. No, because I would have got an extra 600, right? Yeah, I think it would have been exact lethal. Okay. Okay. Bro's cooking. Bro's cooking. I can't remember what this deck does. That's the secret, Shari. Nobody knows what this deck does. Go straight to battle. Clears over Amnesia. Is that silver safer? Ironically, we can't even, like... Because this has to summon two. Which is very amusing. There's no point in doing that. I guess we'll go... Strange Traveler. Activate the effect. We'll reduce this. We'll tribute over to summon this. We'll activate Amnesia Rush. Send this to the grave. We'll boost this up. Then we'll go to battle. We'll just swing. Okay, there we go. There's game one. Game one, everybody. Is the Amnesia skill even good? No. But doesn't mean we can't win games with it, right? Look, we're already 100% win rate, okay? 100%. If we just quit now, bam. 100% win rate. Needless to say, I'm not sure how this is actually going to go. We're probably not going to have like a crazy good win rate at the end of this, but you never know. Zach, free to play. Let's see what Zach has for us. We're going second. Oh no. But I wanted to go first. Amnesia Rush. It's just going to pop up every time. Right, let's see what Zach has for us. No cards in the extra deck. So, I assume this is just going to be straight up like Ragnarok. Like, nothing crazy. I don't actually know if we beat Ragnarok, you know. I mean, it's not impossible. But, like... I mean, how big does this even get us, right? This is... It's just going to be a 900 boost. Which means the only way we can beat the maximum is with Tribute to the Doomed. If we don't exactly Tribute to the Doom it, we can't do anything about it. He's femtroning. Adds back Yggdrago. So he's got 2 max pieces in hand already. That is actually horrifying that he's done that. I mean, I guess we'll go... I think we're going to go Bright Sentinel. If we're being honest. I'm a little bit worried that if he goes max and I set these, that I won't be able to do anything. We're going to try and see how this goes. Alright, the issue is, again, if he just, like, draws the last max piece, slams it down, and doesn't play any back row, I can't play Tribute to the Doomed. That is what we're worried about right now. Okay. So maybe we're not going to summon the max? I was watching the Grand Prix VOD and Light Galaxy that won didn't play versus any Dark Galaxy in Top Cut. Ah. Well, he also got a bye because I couldn't show up to my game. Okay, we're down to 400 attack. That's not ideal. Straight to battle. Just declares an attack. So that is going to be like 3,000 damage. I think we just take this, right? The issue is, again, if he just drops the max, we are kind of cooked now because our life points are going to be too low. But, like, if we go down to just as low anyway, I don't think it'll make any difference. Okay, this is potentially okay. So we do it. We summon Tribute over for this. Summon Tribute over for that. Use the effect. Because I won't be able to bring back 2. We still want to boost both. So we'll go Climb. Activate Climb. We'll grab this back. Tribute over for this. We'll go Bright. Tribute over for this. Activate the skill. Send this to the bin. Boost this. Boost this. Normal summon this. So we could use Force. What does Force get us? It gets us an extra 900. That's an extra 1800 damage. That's 300, 400. It's nowhere near lethal, not even remotely close. And I don't really want to play this. So I think we just go battle. The downside is, if he just summons the max, we're still just dead. There's nothing we can do about it. But like... yeah, I'd need an extra card in hand in order to do anything with that. So I think we do just go battle here. Again, if he just drops the max, we're just dead. There's nothing we can do. It's exactly 2. Special summon 2. If it was up to 2, we could have won this turn. Okay. So far, this is looking okay. No max. Now we just need the last 3 cards in his hand to not exactly be the maximum. And then we're fine. Okay, we're fine. Particle acceleration. This is what we were worried about. So now that that's been cleared. He doesn't get the draw. I mean, that's fine, right? That's 22. Let me just take the 22. And then we just win. We did it, guys. Go, Tribute to the Doomed. Get out of here. Go get him, champs. Wah. Wah. What's Amnesia's cost and skill limit? So, you have to have a face-up level 6 or lower. I mean, should we start saving replays? We're probably going to make a video about this at some point. You have to have a face-up level 6 monster on the field. Right, that is step 1. You have to have a 6. 2, you have to send a level 6 normal monster from your deck to the graveyard. And that's it. That's like the requirements. The other thing is that your deck has to contain no level 7 or higher effect monsters. And you can only special summon a level 7 monster once per duel. Like, it's a bunch of weird restrictions. Gavin! Uh-oh. Okay, he's probably just playing Warrior Feud. No, Warrior Feud. Cyber Dragon. He's probably just playing Cyber Dragon. It could be Heroes. Alright, we're just gonna go for the Amnesia immediately. Start filling up the graveyard. We'll send Ganzel to the bin. Boost this up. Wait a minute. How can I do this? Special summons 2, level 6 or lower. Level 6 or lower. Okay, it's level 6 or lower. Okay, that's big. Where does it put this? 1 for hand on the bottom of your deck. Do we just YOLO this out? I think we do. The issue here is we're going to put this away, which might bonus, but I think just having a big board is worth. Alright. So we'll have a quick look at the skill. So you can only special summon monsters whose original level is 7 once per duel. Can be activated if your constructor deck contains no level 7 or higher effect monsters and all of the monsters are light galaxy monsters. Sidra? Tributes. But your Cyber Assault Dragon will not work on me, plus your graveyard is not set up for this at all. Ooh, aim plus... Ooh, that's kind of spooky. You can't use your Aim Eagle effect, because I don't have level 7 or higher. We do not do that here. We can summon out Search, who doesn't do anything. We can boost the attack up a bit. There's no point in using Slime on this, so we'll just toggle off for now. I want to try Reverie with it. Yeah, it's a shame. Boop. Boop. It's fine, we'll just draw another 6. It's just that easy. We might actually be running out of guys. I don't think it'll make too much difference either way. Right, we're going to go ahead and tribute over this to summon this. Then we'll activate the effect of Galactica Amnesia. What do we need to keep around? We're not going to have that many cards in the graveyard. We don't have a Force already. We're going to be bringing back 2 anyway. We're going to bring back that and that. We don't need that. I think we're going to put this back. We'll bring these out. Then we'll activate Amnesia Rush. Oh, I've realised what we've done here. And that is we have just turned off our card, which is fine. It just means this boost is a bit wasted. Either that or we just don't go for the play. Ugh. I should have really counted our cards better. Man, now I wish I'd kept that guy in my hand. Although, it does create other issues, though. Right, let's just do this. Let's just rip the band-aid off. Mind you, what's the boost even going to be? It'd be a 600 boost. Means you wouldn't even be able to clear anyway. Ah, I've messed this turn up really badly. This is fine, it's whatever. We'll just clear this. So what the play would have been to keep the Safer in hand, tribute over Amnesia for the Safer, then we would have had 3 in graveyard, then we activate Galactica Force. Because then we'd also get, everyone would get a 900 boost, we clear the whole board, and we'd have all the cards in the graveyard to actually use it. Hey Tom, try the Stool deck. Bunch of 1500s and 1400 defense with TSA and card revital. No! Lamau, Tom, you do kind of look like a Tom. I don't even know if that's a compliment or not. So that's a back row. We still don't have any back row removal. Boost the attack again. I mean, this is fine, right? We don't mind our board getting broken. We're going to be fine with it. Grabs Fusion just to set to get another card out of the hand. Okay, so we know where the Fusion is, or where one of the Fusions is. Once again, there's no point in doing anything. We just let him clear the board. Alright, let's see what we draw here. Ganzel is... How many have we got left in deck? 1, 2, 3. We've only got 1 left in deck, which is like a little bit concerning. If we put him into the grave, we'll have 3. We currently don't have... Oh, we do have 2 in there. So I guess we just YOLO this, right? We'll go straight into Amnesia. Then we will go ahead and activate Amnesia. Do we just put, like, Sentinel back? Summoning this seems like it's so win more, but so funny. Let's go for the funny play. Let's go for the funny play. Right, we're going to bring these two out. Then we're going to go ahead and activate our skill. We'll send this. We're going to boost this. It doesn't matter because we're going to tribute over anyway. Then we're going to tribute over this. Then we're going to activate Galactica Force. We'll go these three back. We'll go Universal Storm. We'll get rid of this. Schlam. Schlam. And Schlam. Unfortunately, no Meteor Charge, so we couldn't get him for even more damage, but... If he is Tom, I'm Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Welcome to the chat, Jerry. I mean, we got 3 trap cards face down. We've got every single trap card we have. Go, Rice Terrace Crisis. Bad Cyber Dragon. How will you defeat my field of level 6s? Pass? Cyber Dragon pass? That's not the play you want to be making, my friend. Alright, well, I guess we don't have 3 in graveyard anymore, so we have to use the skill. Send this to the grave, so we can boost this, so we can activate Galactica Force, so we can put these 3 back, so we can activate Meteor Charge, so we can give this guy Piercing, so we can go to battle, swing into this with Piercing, and then get in for 3k. Bam! Oh, undefeated, guys! Undefeated powerhouse deck! Bullying people in the low duel levels. Oh, bro. This deck is like, it's actually kind of fun. Now, obviously we're winning, right? So that's just going to naturally make the deck feel more fun. But just like being able to spam out a bunch of guys and just give them a load of attack, it feels very silly and it does feel very fun. Alright, let's see what our next opponent's going to be on. Panther 77. Okay. Zuijo Zuil Velgia. Let us see. So he's probably playing Cyber Dragons. That is probably what this is. Although could be heroes. I mean, if we think he's on Sidra, he's going to beat over whatever we do anyway. I don't think there's a point in trying to like keep Klein around. So we'll go for this, and we'll go for this. I don't think there's a reason to just send something to the graveyard ahead of time. I don't know, maybe there is. We'll do this. We'll activate Amnesia Rush. We'll send one of our Gansels. We'll boost this guy's attack. Then we'll pass. I haven't worked out yet, like we haven't got a feel for the deck if we want to be sending initially or not. Zuijo. Everyone remember Zuijo. He's my favorite Go Rush character. Cybernetic Combat Customization. Puts the card back. Grabs the fusion. So I have a feeling we're about to be staring down everyone's favorite Cyber Twin Dragon. Now, the Twin Dragon itself is kind of fine. What matters is the other 2 cards in hand. If he has, like, 2 big boys... Because we want him to have back row. That's what we want. Okay, he has back row. Thank God. We can actually get some value. But we're going to be taking a lot of damage here either way. There's not really anything we can do about that. Alright, now we just need to find a good level 6. Okay, there's a good level 6. So we'll go Strange Traveler. We'll go ahead and drop the Universal Storm. Pop the back row. We have to have a normal monster to get his effect off, so we're probably realistically not getting that. How do we want to proceed? I can change that to defense if I want. I don't know if I need to. We're always tributing over this. We're bringing back both guys from the bin. So I guess we just start there. We'll go ahead and use Amnesia. Get rid of this. Bring out these two boys. There's one. There's two. Go ahead and activate our skill. Send this. We'll boost this. We'll boost this. We'll go Galactica Force. We'll put this back, and probably this back at this stage. Alright, so clear over that for 100. I could change that to defense and clear over it for 36, which is 37. I could do 59. Really? 59? 59? Really? Is my maths right? 36, 58. Yeah, I'm literally 100 off of lethal. I think I'm actually better off just setting this, to be honest. Ah, so sad. 100 off lethal. 100 off. If this... if this was a Ganzel instead of a Safer, we had lethal. Okay, goes for the barrage. Does hit our Meteor. Trying to think what he would have to actually, like, kill us here. Like, he would need a big guy and, like, a TSA. Amnesia is telling you the deck is bad? Are you crazy, Badge? We're undefeated. We're going to beat this guy as well. This deck's insane. Oh, you got that sock ready? Ah, 1300 damage. No. Anyway, Universal Storm. Let's get rid of that. I mean... we just use the skill, boost over, swing, and it's game, right? We don't actually have to do anything. GG! You're farming people who don't play Rush? What's your point, Badge? Isn't that what playing Rush ladder is anyway? Like, I feel like even in King of Games you play against people that don't play Rush. Ugh. We haven't actually played against any of the actual meta decks yet, right? Like Cyber Dragon, but like, that's whatever. Subscribe with Prime. Alright, let me pause this music for a sec. Hello, is that Bottler Works in the chat? Welcome, welcome. Are you winning, son? Of course we're winning. Which is actually something we don't do here that often, but we're winning currently today. Hope you're having a good day, Bottler Works. Thank you for the Prime. Really do appreciate it.
Bottler Works just subscribed with Prime.
Dragons.
Are you winning, son?
No matter how you look at this, this is going to be awkward. This is useless against Dragon Fusion. I think we're going to put 2 Linak in attack mode. This might come back to bite us, but we'll see. We'll see what he does. Amnesia Rush Tier 0? Exactly, Rastada, so you know. Do you not watch Tomato streams? He doesn't play Rush. He just bloody yaps. Exactly. Exactly. Right, Dragon's Inferno is going to take our back row. That's fine. That back row was doing almost nothing against this deck, so... Oh, okay, 3 back row. That's a little bit scary, but his monster is kind of shit, so we're kind of happy about that. These are cards. These are cards that exist in the game. We'll go... Strange Traveler. Activate the effect. Reduce the attack. Then... I think I am just going to summon this out. So I just want my hand empty more than anything else. We can also then ditch a card to the bin with Amnesia Rush. We'll send this. Boost this up. We will then set. Is there a way? Does this threaten lethal if I use this? No, it doesn't. No way, right? Does that be 600 on both? 22, 22, 22. Yeah, that's not lethal. So we're just going to set. We'll go to battle. We'll take a little cheeky swing. So there is something. Has he got the barrier? Is that what he's got? Because there was no delay on the first attack. Being sniped by back row hate is the best thing Rice Terrace Crisis can do in the Dragia Star matchup. Well, the other thing is he doesn't actually have an extra deck, so he's not actually playing Dragia Star. I think he's just playing dragons, whatever that means. Like, we haven't seen enough of his list yet to actually know what he's doing. Right, Dragius has come down. This might just be like Hammer Crush Deal. No, we're just playing Dragius Star Nova for the attack boost. Bro is down bad. Well, there goes Blue Eyes. Straight to battle. He's going to get a double hit off, which is like, that's fine. Like, it's damage, but like, it's not crazy. Obviously Amnesia is what we'd really like to have here. We don't really have that option. So what, we just summon this, get this out. Probably use these. We could take a look at what his monster is and then make a decision based on that. I still need a discard. Is the only issue. But we need as many monsters as we can. Right, I think we go Bright. I think we do get out safer. We're going to use Meteor Charge. We're going to use it on Linak. We're going to take a look at what this is. I mean, we can just put it back in defense if we want to. We can go Universal Storm. Let's hit the middle one. So there's the barrier, which means there's probably not going to be anything else to worry about. We will go Galactica Force. Now we'll put back, what, 1? Probably don't need that in there anymore. Because we want to make sure we draw into some of these. Okay, so we can clear this, and then we can swing over that for 1,000. So we're currently just 100 off lethal as is. So we will go with Universal Storm, because if we hit another good back row, then we're like golden, right? We'll set. We'll go Meteor Charge. We'll target this. We'll change this. So now both of our guys are piercing. We could activate the skill if we want. I don't think we need to, so we'll just go battle. We'll attempt to swing to this. Now the only punish would be like Slime, but even that is not the end of the world. This is just Dragon Pile. I mean, basically. What? Dragia Star Nova, Dragia Star F? I mean, you just got to do what you've got to do, right? Bro's down bad for playables. Well, we're just cruising right now. I mean, we should start getting to the point where we'll start playing against, like, Dark Galaxy at some point, right? That should happen eventually. Cry, sheep. Okay. Zoejos Vilvelgia makes his return. Let's see. If he's no, it's going to probably. He's on a 6 streak, guys. What's he gonna be on? Is it just Sidra again? What do we want to do here? Do we just like play a bunch of dudes? We can go defensive, like that's also just fine. As we wait for a response. Alright, let's go aggressive. This deck likes putting things in attack mode. We're going to put things in attack mode. We will put this in defense mode, though. Alright, let's see what he does. I want to keep the Amnesia in hand, but we might get punished for doing that. We'll have to wait and see. Look, big attack monsters. Oh, don't turn off my back row. It is just Sidra. Who would have thought? If he, like, gets out Cyber Search now and brings that back, I'm going to be, like, mildly annoyed. Hello, JD Scrub. Morning, Tomato. You played Stage 2 at... Oh, it's not... I mean, Stage 2 isn't out yet, so we can't play Stage 2. Tributes to summon the second Sidra, so now he could use the skill, which he's going to do. We're going to probably search for the fusion, I would think. Okay, we are going to search for the fusion. So the punish here is that we are taking some damage, right? Which is not ideal, but as long as we draw a normal, we'll probably be fine. He hasn't got any back rows, so something off our back row has done literally nothing. Cyber Twin Dragon! Ugh. We take 12, we take 13, and we lose our Strange Traveler. Now we just need a normal summon and we're probably fine here. You know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's a shame that this is happening against a guy on a 6 win streak. It would have been nice if we didn't brick against the guy on the win streak, to be fair. I mean, if he just doesn't have another big guy, we will live the turn, and we'll get 2 more chances at a normal summon. The issue is, we're probably not going to get anything good enough to keep us alive beyond that. Straight to battle. Okay. We'll hit him with the widespread. Take the 12. Right, we need a normal, and ideally a trap card. No, you see, I needed a normal and a trap card. We're only going to get 1 more draw next turn, because we can't empty this hand. Ah! Ah! He's going to draw a back row hate. He's going to draw an Iron Onslaught and hit our new one. I'm going to call it right now. Okay, no Iron Onslaught. Behold, Buffered Slime. There's the normal summon we needed. Now we're not going to draw a normal summon. Right, normal summon. Okay. Klein. Klein effect. Give me back Linak. Universal Storm. Hit the middle one. That was a good hit. How do I want to do this? I can get this out, use the effect. Has to bring back 2 is the issue. And bringing that, actually, bringing this back has probably just messed me up a bit though. Man, yeah, that has really messed me up, huh? I can just tribute for this, tribute that for that. That still doesn't get me anywhere. Not thinking plays through. Alright, we'll tribute over for this. We will summon... Do I just tribute over Amnesia? Nah, surely not. Will be an extra buff though. 600 versus a 900 boost. That's 400 plus... No, we'll just do this. We'll activate the skill. Send this. Boost this. Boost this. We'll go ahead and... let's use Meteor Charge. Let's flip this up. I want to see what this is. So it did have 200 defense. I don't think the damage actually makes much of a difference, realistically. I think we're probably dead either way. So the whole objective here is just to try and not die. He had 2 live back row. Alright, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So we could have ended on a board of this plus the Rhynac, which would have been a lot better. There's a chance he can't out this, or he can out this but not by enough to like kill. In which case, like, we'll be completely fine. Oh, okay, we're probably dead. Let me think. So he's going to summon out another guy. He'll be a 2400 guy. He'll boost one of them up to 29. He'll swing over that for 100, swing over that for 13. Which means if he has another normal summon, we will probably be dead. If he doesn't... oh, no. He does have a Cyber Engage, doesn't he? Oh, he doesn't? That has just won him the game. Damn, that is barely lethal. That is barely lethal. Oh, that is a shame. Imagine if we made a comeback after being bricked for 2... it was 3 straight turns? I think it was 3 straight turns of being bricked. Imagine if we made a comeback. That's barely lethal. Barely lethal. Alright, I don't want to save that replay. I want a loss where we brick, for sure. I don't want it against Sidra, because we've already got so many replays against Sidra. So we'll just have to keep track and see when we get another loss against a, from bricking, that isn't against Sidra. Oh, dang. I mean, it's going to happen, right? Unfortunately, we're playing a deck that has very strange ratios. We will just brick. Like, this is not meant to be a good deck. Okay. So we're going to be playing against Metarion by the look of things. On a 7 streak as well. 7 streak Metarion. Let's see what he does. Well, step 1 is he has to actually draw a card for his turn. There we go. Sets a back row. 2 back row. I mean, you're playing Metarion, right? You should easily be able to empty your whole hand. There we go. Safer on the first turn. Okay. Well, we'll go Rhynac. I think we do just hard commit the Universal Storm. I mean, that's probably the worst thing we could have hit. We really don't want Safer getting stuck in our hand, so we're always tributing over. We'll use Amnesia Rush. We'll send one of these, because again, we don't want to be drawing into all of these. I don't think there's a reason to use Meteor Charge here, where we're not going to get much value out of it, so we will just swing. Okay, that's fine. Then we'll just pass. Alright, the issue here is if he goes for like a big fusion play, we are going to get absolutely destroyed. We have no trap cards. Our back row is very situational. He's got 3 cards left over plus the 5 in hand, so he's got 8 cards to work with. He could easily just do like a double reactor play and get a +4, which means we'd have 12 cards to deal with against our 3, and then we'd probably just get OTK'd. That's always the scary thing with Metarion, right? Is they can just kill you, like out of nothing, right? Any tips on a 0 gem deck? 0 gem is always awkward because it will depend what cards you got out of your like free packs, because you know you get like 10 free packs every now and then. It'll also depend what you use your tickets on. It's a tricky one, just because. Oh, okay, so we're digging for reactor. Oh, for actor, just so we can actually make a fusion play. There's not many, like, strong decks that aren't using, like, a ton of 3-ofs. So, like, it really comes down to, like, what pool you've got. If you've got, like, most of, like, the Sidra core, I don't know if you can use tickets to get the Sidra stuff, but Sidra is still a good deck. What are we making here? I think he could be really annoying. Okay, he's not being annoying. He's making the better one. And go for the Vritra Star. Okay. As is, though. This is, like, fine. Like, this could be so much worse. Another 1400. So he has got Vritra, which is annoying. So it means I can't just stall him out. I mean, not that this deck would be able to stall him out, but... He's got 2 normals, and they're face up, which means we can get Mega Value off of Galactica Force, if we can get it off. But we haven't drawn a 6. No Amnesia, but we can still make other plays, so we're still fine. We'll go Klein. Activate Klein. We're going to grab back Ganzel. We're going to summon Ganzel. We're going to summon Sentinel. We're going to summon Sentinel. We're going to activate Amnesia Rush. Send this to the bin. We'll give this guy a boost. We'll go Galactica Force. We'll put back